there are many, many conferences out there, right? There's the Raisina Dialogue in India. There is the Shangri-La Dialogues in Singapore. There is the Munich Security Conference. There's Davos, of course, which just finished. What, in your mind, is distinctive about or unique about the Paris Peace Forum? I mean, what gap, in a sense, does it fill? How would you distinguish it from some of these other arrangements that are already existing and contributing to dialogue on global issues?
Yeah, so it's really important to sort of focus on what added value the forum has. And so among the ones you mentioned, most of those are security-oriented, right? These are really about geopolitics, great power politics, etc. They don't generally deal much with global governance. There are two of those that do this to some extent. One is UNGA, it's the UN General Assembly, and around the UN General Assembly you have hundreds of meetings that deal with these problems, and that's probably the premier place to deal with those. And then to some extent, but only to some extent, Davos is also focusing on some of these global issues, but with a very economic and corporate perspective, right? And so Davos is tackling some of the good questions, but not necessarily with all the good people, the right people that should be in the room. That's, to put it this way, I think Davos is sometimes doing useful things, you know, public-private partnerships and things like that. But at the same time, I think it doesn't capture the zeitgeist or the spirit of the 2020s, in the sense that we have now many more challenges, global challenges that we need to tackle, and these need to have a true multi-actor solution. And that's what we bring at the forum, which is very open in terms of who can come and participate and contribute, etc. So it's basically governments, civil society organization, NGOs, foundations, and others, the corporate world, local governments, regional institutions, multilateral development banks, and others. So the theory of change, if you'd like, of the forum, or the, to take a less pedantic word, simply the principle on which we operate, is the idea that to solve some of the world's problems, you need to have this multi-actor representation. And more importantly, we're not just a conference, but we're really a policy organization. So the way I think of the forum is primarily a policy organization trying to do global governance, coordination among actors, and using an event, a global event in November in Paris, as a tool or as a leverage to launch coalitions on issues like cybersecurity, critical minerals, climate overshoot, the problem of debris in space, all the problems that sometimes the UN is tackling, but oftentimes that the UN is prevented from tackling decisively, not because of the UN, but because of countries that would not cooperate fully, and also because other actors are not included in these efforts. So we try to supplement the offer of global governance. We're trying something else, honestly. We're trying to invent a different type of organization that would provide answers, because we all have an interest in tackling these challenges